Everybody's worried about Britney's well-being, but it doesn't seem like anything's getting better. My friend Britney the Stan on Twitter released some really scary evidence that makes me believe that Britney's team was setting her up to die. At this point, we already know that Britney's team has put her on drugs like lithium and locked her away in mental facilities against her will. But what's interesting about Michael Jackson's situation is that there are some similar players in both stories. If you guys have not seen my video comparing Michael Jackson's situation to Britney's, definitely go and check that out. So this document I'm showing you guys on the screen pretty much claims that Britney Spears is deceased. This document came out in October 2009, and clearly Britney Spears is not deceased, but it's interesting that they have her listed in an official document with her name claiming that she's dead at this point. What I want you guys to pay attention to is the very bottom corner, because there's a number here which is also used in Michael Jackson's case. BP 117321 is the case number, and for whatever reason, Michael Jackson's paperwork is being combined with Britney Spears' paperwork. I'd like to believe that the court system is organized, but clearly not. And I just don't think there's any way that an error could occur where Michael Jackson's case number ends up on a piece of documentation associated with Britney's conservatorship. So what we believe is that this lawyer basically took the court document from Michael's case and used it in Britney's case, missed that it had Michael's case number on it and that it said deceased. It's probably this Gerald Cohen lawyer because she's worked on both cases and that's the overlap. So for whatever reason, this lawyer is making mistakes. And filing paperwork that Britney Spears is dead, it's just really weird because they got away with putting Britney in a conservatorship, and then the next year, Michael Jackson dies. And then his same lawyers are handling his money. Everything's just really weird here, and it makes me worried for Britney Spears because look what happened to Michael. But now we need to move on to something that might be even weirder. I don't even know. So Britney posted this on Instagram. She deleted it 3 minutes after, but she wrote in the caption that she went to Jack in the Box. She claims that she had never eaten there before. I've actually never eaten there before. Should I? I don't know. Anyways, she claims that she was driving down the road and she saw a big sign, and she decided to stop by and get a cookies and cream milkshake with a double cheeseburger. She claims that she had been crying in the car, but nobody could tell, only me. My face still looked normal. I was fine. But then there he was, this big man at the effing window, talking about an employee at Jack in the Box. He gave me pity. It's gonna be okay. WTF did he just say? He doesn't know me, and I sure as hell didn't know him. So why did he say that? It's all gonna be okay. I was offended. F you, stupid man at Jack in the Box. You don't know me. You're not my blood, so go F yourself. So a few takeaways. Britney's in the drive-thru. She's crying, but she claims that nobody can tell. And I think that's interesting because this employee has come out with a video and he claims he could tell that she was crying, and he describes this interaction. So let's go ahead and watch this TikTok together.
Okay guys, this is crazy. I was about to take a nap and my friend sent me this post that Britney made like 4 hours ago. So I told my friend 2 days ago that I saw Britney at my job, which is Jack in the Box. Oh my. All right, so let me, I guess, do a story time. Basically, I was working my shift at Jack in the Box. I was working the drive-thru, and this lady rolls up to my window, and I'm like, oh, hey, hello, blah, blah. Your total is whatever the fuck. Okay, so she pays whatever, blah, blah. She's super sweet. But I honestly did not recognize her. I did not know who she was. I was like, I mean, I kind of recognized her. I was kind of like, oh, she looks familiar. But I wasn't like, oh, it's Britney. So she paid whatever. And then I was packing her order and I hand her over the bag. And I could tell that she was, as I was handing her like the bag, she was like wiping away her tears. So I was like, oh, what? I said something like, oh, everything's going to be okay. Or I was like, oh, it's going to be okay, girls. Something like that. And after I said that, she side-eyed me and she was like, thank you. And she was like awkwardly like, she was like, ah. So it was super awkward. And I felt so awkward after I said that. I was like, oh my God, why the f did I just say that? So, but there was this really long like big ass line in front of her. So she had to like wait at my window. And as she is waiting, I still like felt super awkward, whatever. And I look at her and she puts her sunglasses on. And I look at her and for some reason, when she put on her sunglasses, I was like, oh my God, I know who she is. And I'm like thinking to myself, like, oh my God, that's Britney Spears. And I'm not like a super like Britney like fan. I mean, I listen to her music from time to time, but I'm not like, oh my God, Britney. So I look at her, I'm like, oh my God, that's her, blah, blah, blah. And then she drove off. But, you know, she also called me a big man somewhere in there. I think it's like, yeah. I don't know why she said that. Maybe it's because I'm tall. Yeah, also ignore my dry lips. But yeah, she was super sweet and she looked really good, honestly. And yeah.
Maybe not the best storyteller, but I appreciate his account of the situation because his Britney Spears over here driving around alone in her car, getting Jack in the Box. I have so many questions. Like, first off, like, which Jack in the Box? Second off, was she alone? And yeah, what else would we ask? We know that she got a double cheeseburger and a milkshake, so. Anyways, it's weird to see this accounting, this story, because like we just got this Nobu story where Britney was seen on her birthday and her extensions were showing and she picked up some toddler, and then a model made a whole video talking about her, calling her a hillbilly and all that.
This hillbilly blonde woman comes up to the baby and snatches the baby, and she's like, oh my God, and she's like kissing the baby. And she's like, oh my God, just kissing the baby. And she's like, oh my God. And this guy's like, who? My best friend's cousin is like, who is this psycho?
Well, this model actress ended up deleting her socials. I believe they're still gone. And some people believe that she is like a paid actor by Britney's like conservatorship team. And do you think this guy could be a paid actor as well? I don't know. I saw some comments of people saying like, is this guy, faking it? How do we know he's telling the truth? Some people were thrown off by the fact that he only has one video up and he has like, he's not following anyone. There's really no trace of him on socials. I tried to find like his Instagram and stuff like that. But you know what? Not everyone's on social media. And to be honest, I kind of believe Jack in the Box Kid over Nobu Girl. That's kind of funny. Jack in the Box Kid, Nobu Girl. I think I'm team Jack in the Box Kid because I do actually feel like this happened. The Nobu situation, I'm still really unsure about. But something I'd like to mention in this video is that Britney's former business manager, Lou M. Taylor, CEO of TriStar Sports and Entertainment, they are actually currently in a lawsuit. And I kind of want to like give you guys a quick rundown of what's going on. So former employees are speaking out and providing never before seen emails exposing a toxic work environment, all ran by Lou M. Taylor. So this woman, Christy Andrews, is suing the firm because she was an employee there until she was wrongfully terminated. And she believes that she was wrongfully terminated because of her disabilities, because she's got some pretty intense asthma, and I believe she may have diabetes, like a few other issues. Here's a copy of Christie's emergency contact form with all of her health concerns listed. Getting into these lawsuits are not pretty because in workplaces you have a lot of receipts, and there are plenty of emails that show that her managers, directors, those people knew that she had these conditions and she needed special support for this. We've got emails from 2018, 2021 where they were accommodating. So at some point her disabilities were an issue, but they did lead up to her being fired. In 2018, Christy started working at home, and these emails are important because it shows that her firm at the time was fine with her working at home. But when it came to COVID time, they had some issues. Before we get there, I do want to mention that Christy did have some hiccups in her career. At one point in 2019, she was spoken to because she was late, and I guess her communication was lacking. But a few months after that, she actually got a raise. So these pieces of evidence show that, Christy had her problems, but she was still doing well enough to get a raise and continue progressing in the company. This is where it gets messy, and there are clearly some issues with communication and hierarchy at this firm because it looks like Christy doesn't know who to go to for answers. Back in March 2020, Christy wanted to work from home because she's got really bad asthma and COVID just started, so we didn't understand the implications yet. And here's an email where she's speaking about her doctor who's pissed at her for going to work because she should not be there there. She's very susceptible to, lung diseases with the asthma. So it's probably not good for her to be there. Plus, she's been working at home since like 2018. So why do you need her to come into the office in 2020? For whatever reason, it seemed like Lou and Taylor and the higher ups wanted these people to be in person. They ended up going back and forth, and against Christy's doctor's orders, she had to go to work because they just couldn't figure it out. Which I guess this is a health concern for Christy, and it adds to the case that she's building against TriStar. So when COVID hit, a lot of people had requests, and Christy did as well because she was experiencing asthma. I guess the cleaning products were bothering her. There was a lot, and these managers were actually kind of like talking crap about Christy and all of her health issues and how they were pretty much over it. This led to her being fired, and there's actually a spreadsheet of these employees who were fired, and what I find is interesting is that most of the people who were fired were let go because they had either childcare problems or compromised immunity. So TriStar fired a bunch of people because they have kids at home they need to take care of and the COVID pandemic is just starting, or they have health issues, they're fired. They're let go because now you're at risk, I guess. So Christy was laid off, and they actually ended up hiring new coordinators right after she was laid off. So it wasn't like, oh, the business can't have this many employees, we gotta fire some people. They just specifically fired Christy. And the question is, why did they fire her? Because she's got health issues or because she was a bad employee? Because there's proof that she was a decent employee for some time. She was getting raises every year and things like that. But what I think is really sneaky is how Lou M. Taylor is characterizing this woman in her deposition. Lou contradicted herself multiple times. For example, at one point she says she has no idea who Christy is, but then admits Christy was the first person she was aware of to make a work from home request, and brought up the fact that Christy competitively cheered. So she knew who Christy was because Christy was one of the first people to ever work from home back in 2018. And it's interesting that she's bringing up her competitive cheerleading background because it seems like Lou is trying to negate the fact that this person has asthma by saying, oh, well, she was a competitive cheerleader, so is it that bad? She literally was quoted saying, I didn't know she had a disability for asthma because she competitively cheered, which just seems like two things that don't really add up. I guess maybe to a degree, but not really. I mean, I have asthma and I did competitive swimming, and you have to hold your breath under the water. So you just use your inhaler as you're working out. But I thought I'd mention that just because I think it's interesting that she's in court, because it seems like she's in court for a lot of different reasons, like Britney's situation, this situation, and she tries to act like she's so innocent. But are you? Are you really? Anyways, I want to hear what you guys think in the comments below. Here's my email, and I'll see you in a new. Also, what do you think of this sweater? I feel like one of those, have you ever seen those things on TikTok where the people play their anime characters and they're like, ooh, brr. I kind of feel like that with this. Or, see, that would be cute if I felt like that, but it's also giving me slightly the furries. And I'm not a furry. I'm just I just thought this was cute, Not furry. Not a furry. Anyways, love you guys. I'll see you soon. Bye.